Okay, so we're going to go over Razzie's commands and show you how you can stay consistent with her once she goes home. So her first command is heel. This is loose leash walking on your left hand side. So Razzie's going to be on your left hand side now when you take her for walks, and you want to have a nice relaxed arm and a nice relaxed leash. Then you can reward Razzie when she's in your space, verbal praise, petting, treats, to let her know that she's right where you want her to be. If she gets out of your space, we'll show you how to correct her if need be. But when she's in your space, again, nice relaxed arm, nice relaxed leash. This should take up most of your walks now where she's right next to you. And then when you want to release her to go potty, sniff, take some time to be a dog, then you can release her by telling her free. Then when you're ready for her to heel again, you'll just say heel again to let her know that you want her back in your space and that you're going back on your walk where it's structured and she's right next to you on your left hand side. Again, nice relaxed arms so you can have a nice relaxed leash around her. So that is heel. Her next command is sit. So you'll ask Razzie to sit. Sometimes she goes a little bit slower than normal, but as long as she's going into that sit, there's no need to correct her for being a little slow about it. Once she's in that sit, then you can reward her. Again, verbal praise, petting, treats. You want to reward Razzie up towards where her head's at. That way she stays in that sit position, but she's not trying to jump to get the treats or lay down to get the treats either. So that's how you would reward her for a sit. Then if you want Razzie to stay in that sit, you're just going to remind her to sit before you walk away from her. We don't say stay because that's one more word that Razzie has to remember, but you'll ask her to sit. Once she's sitting, you can reward her. And then if you wanted to walk away from her to go put your shoes on before your walk or anything like that, you would just remind Razzie to sit before you walk away. Then you want to go back to Razzie to reward and release her from that position. You can reward her with, again, praise, petting, and treats. And then when you go to release her, you can either say free to go let her do what she wants, or you can tell her heel if you're ready to go for your walk. So that's her sit stay. Again, you'll ask her to sit. Then you can reward her, and then you'll remind her sit before walking away. Her next command is down, so you'll ask Razzie to go into a down. Once she's in that down position, you can reward her, but now you want to reward Razzie low to the ground. That way, again, she doesn't jump up to get those treats, and her head stays low to the ground where it's supposed to be. Then, once she's in that down, again, you can reward her, and when you're ready to walk away to do something, you'll again just remind Razzie of the command she's already in, so you'll remind her down before you walk away. Then you can go do what you want. You can come back to Razzie again to reward and release. You come back to her, reward her again with those treats low to the ground. Then you can release her again into a free or a heel. So that is her down stay. Her next command is place stay. So when you want Razzie to do this, you'll either walk her to place or send her to her place bed. Then for this one, you want to reward on the bed. That way Razzie's more likely to stay on the bed because she thinks the treats came from the bed. So you'll send or ask Razzie to go to place. Once she's on place, she can pretty much do what she wants as long as she's not being destructive or loud or getting off the bed. All four paws have to be on the bed. She can have treats up there. She can have toys up there. She can be standing, sitting, kind of moving around a little bit. She can lay down. As long as she's on the bed and she's not whining, barking, or being destructive, she can kind of do what she wants on there. But again, you'll reward on the bed. Then when you want her to stay on the bed, you'll just remind her place before you walk away. Then you can go cook dinner or watch a movie, things like that. When you want to go back, you can go back to release and reward her. But if you wanted her to stay on the bed, you could just go back to her, reward her on the bed. Good place. Reward her with verbal praise for staying on the bed to let her know she's doing a good job and make that a good experience for her. And then you can go back to what you were doing, leaving her on place. But when you're ready to release her, you again want to go all the way back to Razzie to reward and release her. That way she doesn't try and guess when you're going to let her off and jump off too early. So you'll go all the way back to her, reward her on the bed, good place, and then you can release her by again saying free or heel, whatever you wanted her to do next. So that is place stay. Her next command is recall or come when called. So you have Razzie out in the yard and she's playing, sniffing, going potty, but you're ready for her to come back inside or you're ready for her to practice her heel. You're going to say come, really loud and firm for Razzie. Then you're going to take a few steps backwards to welcome her into your space. This lets her know that she's not being chased, and again, that she's welcome in your space. So you'll say, come, really loud and firm, that way she can hear you. You'll take a few steps backwards. You can verbally praise Razzie on her way back. Good girl, good job. You want to keep her excited to come back to you because she was interested in something else in the yard when she was sniffing. So now we want her attention to be back on you, and we want to keep it back on you. So you'll verbally praise her as she's on her way back. Then when she's back to you and either sitting or laying down, you can reward her for that. Then she's supposed to stay in that position until you release her. So again, you'll say, come, really loud and firm, few steps backwards to welcome her into your space, verbally praise her as she's coming back. Then once she's back to you and either sitting or laying down, you can reward her for coming back to you, give her some pets. We want this to be an enjoyable experience when she comes back to you. Then once she's back to you sitting and you're ready to release her again, you can say free, or if you're ready to heel her or go inside, you can say heel. So that is come when called or recall. Her next command is leave it. So you drop something on the ground or next to Razzie and you don't want her to have it, you're going to say leave it now. Then she knows that she can't have that or whatever you dropped on the ground. You want to practice this with dog safe foods first. That way she's prepared if it were an emergency situation, or you dropped some pills on the ground or spilled some medicine or a liquid that she can't have. You want to practice this again with dog safe foods first. So practice with Razzie's food, practice with some chicken or hot dogs or her treats. Practice with things that are safe for her to have, just in case she were to get it when you're practicing for the first couple times. And then once you've practiced, then she's prepared for those situations where it would be a pill or some kind of medicine that she can't have. So that is leave it. So those are Razzie's commands. Again, heel, loose leash walking on the left-hand side, a sit stay, a down stay, a place stay, come when called or recall, and leave it. Then, if we need to correct Razzie for any of those commands, we have her collars here. Her first collar is her prong collar. So, to get this on and off of Razzie, we're going to have two different ways. The first way to get this on and off of Razzie is, you'll see here there's different prongs and they're connected. You're going to be able to pinch these apart, pull them out, and now the collar is apart, so you can put it around her. To put it back on her, you're going to put one side in the little hole, you're going to pinch them together, and slide the other side in. But sometimes that can be a little difficult because this metal's a little tough, so if we need to, what we can do is we can flip this inside out so that the prongs won't make contact with Razzie's eyes or her skin, anything like that. Then you can slip it around Razzie's neck, and then once it's around her neck, you can flip it back to the normal way so that the prongs are facing towards her neck, so that way she can get a correction. Then we're going to pretend really quick that my wrist is Razzie's neck. So if Razzie needs a correction with the prong collar, you're going to give her a quick pop and a release. Now for Razzie, she's a pretty sensitive dog, so we don't want to do it too hard and scare her, but just a little gentle pop and release should be enough to give her the correction that she needs. So if she gets up from a sit stay, you're going to say no, give her a quick pop and release in an upward motion, and remind her that she's supposed to be sitting. If she gets up from a down stay, you're going to say no, then you're going to give her a quick pop and release in a downward motion to remind her that she's supposed to be laying down towards the ground. Same for heel. If she starts to get too far ahead of you, no, quick pop and release until she's back in your space. So that's how to correct her with the prong collar. You can leave the leash on her in the house. That way you have this easy way to correct her. And then for the remote collar, on the side of this remote here, there's a small red magnet. And underneath her collar, to the side here a little bit, there's another small red key. We're going to tap these two together until the green light flashes on top here. We'll do that again up here. Green light flashes to show you that it's on. Then once that's on, if we need to correct her, we'll turn on the remote. So there's that large L button in the center here. You're going to press and hold that button until your screen lights up. So now both the remote and the collar are on. So if we need to correct Razzie, we're going to use the black S button here to correct her. So I'll pretend that my hand here is Razzie's neck, And if she gets too far ahead of you in a heel, you're going to say no, press the black S button, and then remind her that she's supposed to be heeling. If she gets up from a sit stay and you don't have her leash on in the house, so you need to correct her with a remote collar, you're going to say no, press the black S button, and remind her that she's supposed to be sitting. Same for the rest of her commands. You'll say no, press the black S button, and remind her of the command that she was already in. So that's how to correct her with both of her collars. And again, those are her commands that I talked about in the beginning of the video. So now we're going to show you Razzie's commands. Sit. Good girl. Sit. Good sit. Heel.
There's some kids you can teach that too.
How are you? Good girl. Down. Good job. Good girl. Good down. Good girl. Down. Good down. Good girl. Good down. Free. Hey, Razzie! Leave it. Good girl. Good job. Okay. Okay. You can have this one. This one? Hey, want this one? Okay. There you go. Free. You're free. Good girl. Free. Hey. Leave it. Good. Good job. Okay. Want this one? Okay. Okay. There you go. Good girl. Place. Good girl. Good job. Good girl. Place. Good girl. Place. free. Good job. Okay, so now that we've gone over and shown you Razzie's commands, we're going to go over the remote collar more in depth. So you'll see on her collar here that these green lights, this one flashes green every couple seconds to let you know that the collar is on and charged. Then again, on the remote, our screen is turned on. We can see that here. So when I need to give Razzie a correction with the remote collar, again, I say no. Then I press the black S button and I remind her what she's supposed to be doing. So when I press this black S button here, you can see on the screen that is level 10. That's a pretty low level, but again, Razzie's a pretty sensitive dog. So if you get home and 10 is too much, I'll show you here in a minute how to change that. But you'll see here that her normal correction level, the black S button, is level 10. Under that black S button on the side of the remote here is a red S button. What that is that's a boost feature or emergency feature. I have not used a level this high on Razzie, but what that does, if I press the red S button, that changes Razzie's level to 20. So if Razzie gets loose for some reason and you can't get her attention and she starts running towards the road and there's a car, you're going to say no, and you're going to press the red S button and change her level to 20 until you get her attention and she's coming back to you, or until you can get to her where she stopped running and she's not going anywhere. So again, that is level 20, her booster emergency feature. I have not had to use that on Razzie. Hopefully you won't either, but that will double her original correction level and it'll be easier for you to get her attention if she's not listening with the normal correction level and you really need to get her attention. But again, her normal correction level is this 10 button right here, the black S button. On the other side of the remote is the black T button. This is the vibrate feature. You can't really hear it too much on the box because it's a really light vibration, but what that does is it vibrates Razzie's collar. You can use this in the future if Razzie's been doing really good for you and she does something that maybe would warrant a correction if she keeps doing it or gets worse about it, but right now you just kind of want to give her a warning. You'll just use the vibrate button to give her that warning to see if she's going to need an actual correction. So again, black S button, normal correction or level 10. Red S button is her booster emergency feature. That's level 20. On the other side of this remote is the black T button. That's the vibrate feature. Again, you can use that for a warning in the future. On the back of this remote is that L button in the center that we use to turn the remote on and off. But if I just tap this button, it turns the flashlight feature on. So those lights that flash when we turn the collar on and off and flash green every couple seconds, now they're both going to be a flashlight. So if you let Razzie out at night and you want to be able to see her more because there's not a light on the back porch or something, you can use the flashlight feature so that you can see her in the dark. So again, the L button in the center, press and hold it to turn the remote on and off, but you'll tap it to turn the flashlight feature on. Then next to that button is a small M/C button. You'll see on the front of the collar here, it has a little M next to her level. What this button does is changes the collar from momentary to continuous. We shouldn't need that feature anymore with Razzie, so she's fine being on momentary. Then, like I said earlier, if you get home and 10 is too much for Razzie, you feel like she's flinching too much or she's kind of whining when you correct her for things with the remote collar, we may need to turn her level down a little bit. So what you'll do to do that is you'll press and hold this dial until the number 10 flashes. Now this dial is unlocked, so maybe we need to change her down to level 8 at home because 10 doesn't seem like enough. Or you get her home and 10 isn't doing much. You feel like she's just kind of ignoring the stimulation and she's still not listening to you. Maybe we need to turn her up to 12. Sometimes her levels will change. If she's in public, you may need to turn it up a bit, or she's really nervous in public, so we may need to turn it down to 8. Different situations like that where you'll just have to see how the situation is and change it when you're there. But right now, when she's here at least, her current level is at 10. She should be okay with that when she gets home as well, because that's been a pretty good level for her. But her current level is 10. And when we want to lock that back in place, we're going to do the same thing we did to unlock it. You're going to press and hold it until that 10 flashes. Now that number 10 is locked in place, and we cannot change it even if we turn the dial. That way we don't accidentally change her level in our pocket or when it's in our hand. So now it is locked in at level 10. So those are the features of the remote collar. If you need to turn this off at the end of the day, tap those two together. You'll see that red light flash on the top to show it's off. Then to turn the remote off, it'll be that large L button in the center. Same thing to turn it on, press and hold the button until your screen shuts off. Then in this box here, we've got her charger. You can charge both the remote and the collar at the same time. And in here, you've got some longer prongs to put on the collar. Her hair is short enough and like thin enough that she shouldn't need those, but just in case. And then in this bag here, you've got a little screwdriver tool that you can use to change these prongs if you need to. And under all of that, there's an instruction manual at the bottom of the box. You can use that if you want to read about the collar more in depth. And then on the back of this is the number and email to contact to get the 2-year warranty for the collar. So those are the features of the collar. Again, her commands are heel or loose leash walking, sit stay, down stay, place stay, recall or come when called, and leave it. Those are Razzie's commands. Make sure you practice with her and work on those with her so that she knows what she's doing. Be firm with your corrections if you need to, but still be gentle with her. And then have lots of fun with Razzie. Keep up the work, keep up the practice with her, and again, have lots of fun with her, stay consistent with her, and reward her when she deserves it. We want to make sure to pay Razzie for doing a good job. I know sometimes she doesn't eat a lot, so you can reward her with verbal praise and petting, but make sure you're giving her those payments for doing her job, and give her those slight corrections if she does an unwanted behavior. So have fun and stay consistent.